What's up?
Ready? Evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a call to order to the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee. The time is now 6:34 p.m. In attendance, in live attendance, we got committee member Bobby Brown, Chair Joe Sokolovic, Chairman of the Board, Mr. John Weldon. We've got students from Park City Magnet, Dr. McPherson on staff. And online, we have committee member Erica Castillo and board member Albert Bernahan. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes dated February 22nd, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Is Christine also on? Baptiste Perez?
Thank you. Ms. Baptiste Perez is also online.
You should.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
That's okay.
okay.
So moved.
Thank you. Any possible corrections, errors, or omissions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Now we got discussion and possible action on adding Eid al-Fitr as a holiday in Bridgeport Public Schools. This was brought to me by students from Park City Magnet. They're familiar with me because my son used to go to that school, and the inception was a project for classroom teacher, social studies teacher, Eric, why is your name blocking? Mr. Eric Johnson, thank you. I just introduced like some seconds ago too. And he'll tell us a little about it. He'll introduce us, and I'll just give a couple of the kids who's to them for.
Thank you, Mr. Sokolovic. Distinguished members of the committee, my name is Eric Johnson, 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher at Park City Magnet School. What you're about to see is room 101A's rendition of Project Citizen. Project Citizen teaches our young men and women to become active members in a democratic society. It teaches them how to perform research, how to deliver that research to different bodies of government, how to enforce an action plan to try and create real lasting change in our communities. And so my homeroom brought this to me. They brought this entire idea of making Eid al-Fitr a day off from school in the city of Bridgeport. And this came up before Project Citizen was even mentioned. I've been hearing this from my students in this class since last year. And so this is our opportunity to try and create a real change that we feel will bring more equity and greater inclusivity to the city of Bridgeport. So the problem that these students have presented is that Eid al-Fitr is not a day off, which is unfair to the students who are Muslim in our Bridgeport public schools. This problem is more widespread than I think many people realize. In terms of this problem, we are hoping that it's a problem that could be handled by government, because what currently happens under current policy is students who are Muslim and take off the day for Eid al-Fitr are marked absent, missing a day of school. There's no current policy in the city of Bridgeport in dealing with such problems. Obviously, we're here amongst the Board of Ed and the committee today, hoping that we will have this motion passed or furthered so that we can try and create some real lasting change within the city. Students were very adept to notice that Eid al-Fitr was marked on the city calendar, but it is the only day marked on the city calendar that is not granted as a day off for students and staff. Some groups that would be interested in such a problem, mainly those students and families who are Muslim within the city of Bridgeport. All Muslim students whom we interviewed, all Muslim students said that Eid should be a day off from school, unanimously. Students are concerned because they do currently get marked absent, while other people from other different religious persuasions are not on high holidays in their own faiths. And there are other folks in our presentation who could also be considered to be in opposition to the fact that it is a day off. Folks who would support us may be teachers who feel it is wrong to mark students absent on a holiday such as this, and any other members of our community who feel that religious equity and fairness is most important. Some advantages to having Eid as a day off: our community as a whole will recognize the importance of Eid. In addition, it'll show respect and equality to our friends and classmates who are Muslim. And finally, it will teach our students that Eid is a day worth recognition, and it will help them to learn more about other cultures. Folks who may disagree with our policy are folks who may be against Muslims having Eid al-Fitr as a day off, or perhaps folks worried about the city's budget, as keeping a building heated for an additional day or keeping essential staff employed for a day could cost the district some money. With regards to our data, when we interviewed 99 people, we found that 50 of them said they were familiar with what Eid al-Fitr was, 30 had not heard of Eid al-Fitr, and 17 said that they had heard of it but weren't sure what it was. This clearly shows a need for our students to be aware that this is an important day, and we feel one of the goals or one of the positives of our goal is to put it on the calendar as a day off so people know that it is a major event. When we conducted a survey of 5th through 8th grade students at our school, we found that in this survey, 11 out of the 99 students surveyed were Muslim. The overwhelming majority were Christian. None of the people whom we interviewed in 5th through 8th grade were Jewish, along with a smattering of folks who would rather not reply to this question on our survey or report themselves as not religious or other. Purpose for this slide is to demonstrate that 1 out of every 9 students whom we surveyed in our school is Muslim, and that this is a severe inequity that such a large percentage of the population be denied this important recognition. Of the 99 students whom we interviewed, of all religious persuasions, as you saw on the previous slide, unanimously, all 99 agreed that Eid should be a day off from school. I appreciate you allowing me to introduce this problem. Now I would like to call up our alternative policies, various ways to solve the problem. So I'd like to introduce right now Manaf and An. Come on up.
Alternative policies. The first policy we would like to talk about is alternative policies. For our first policy, we'd like to take the day before Thanksgiving and make it a half day. We can use a half day as a substitute for a day off, so it doesn't add on to the school calendar. The disadvantages are that people are usually traveling on the day before Thanksgiving. They will only usually have a half day to travel. If we promote this policy, another advantage is that Muslim students will have a day off to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, and it does not affect the school.
Like is mine going to a recording. It's not going to help with the YouTube.
Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could add an extra day at the end of the school year if we have a day off on Eid al-Fitr. The disadvantages of using this policy is that it would cost about $1 million and 65 cents, since that's about the cost of one school day. Also, people usually want to have summer vacations start early. If this policy is adopted, Muslim students would be allowed to celebrate Eid al-Fitr normally without being counted as absent or missing assignments. The last alternative policy is we could remove a day from spring break if we have a day off on Eid al-Fitr. The disadvantages of this policy is that people who want to enjoy spring break or travel have one less day to do so. If we do use this policy, the school calendar would not be affected except for spring break. If this policy is adopted, Muslim students would be allowed to celebrate Eid al-Fitr normally without being counted as absent or missing assignments. The next slide is our policies. Our proposed policy. We think that the best policy is to have a day off for Eid al-Fitr for Muslims, since it doesn't violate the U.S. Constitution and it helps Muslims celebrate their holiday. The advantages of this holiday is that Muslims get the day off just like other religions, and they won't feel left out or discriminated. Muslims won't be unfairly marked absent. Sorry. They won't miss any school days or fall behind on work.
Muslim workers miss personal days, and they won't get lowered. Their pay won't get lowered for having that day off. It respects various religions, and it won't cause any debates or anger. Eid allows people to celebrate with family after fasting and having nothing preventing them from enjoying. It won't affect the numbers of school days either.
Okay, so disadvantages of it. Some might disagree with Eid al-Fitr being a holiday and may say other holidays are more important. And Eid al-Fitr is not always on the same day or even in the same month each year. If it lands on a weekend one year and then on a school day the following year, it may be hard to track. Students might be absent for their religious holidays, which might affect their attendance and might fall behind in their studies. Adjusting the school calendar by taking one day from another school day off might upset others. For example, Free King's Day and Italian Heritage Day. We might have some way of finding a loophole or a way around the policy, depending on how good or bad the policy is. Okay, what days should we take? We had the 7th and 8th grade classes to take a vote where to place the extra day of school if Eid al-Fitr is declared a day off. So there are 26 votes for Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the half a day, 32 votes for Italian Heritage Day, 14 votes for Friday of President's Day weekend, 6 votes for the end of the school year, 0 for the beginning of the school year, and 0 for the April break. After agreeing that removing a cultural holiday wouldn't be the right thing to do, we decided the day before Thanksgiving would be the best option.
The action plan. Our action plan. We will bring our PowerPoint consisting of data and opinions from different Bridgeport residents to the committee meeting of education, diversity, equity, and inclusion for the city of Bridgeport. We will propose our problem and our policy for the best way to make Eid al-Fitr a day off in Bridgeport. If we get the necessary votes from the committee members, we will bring our presentation to the regular Board of Education meeting and propose our policy to the entire board. People who might oppose the idea. Parents. Some parents might have a demanding work schedule. This means that if there is a day off, they will have to take time off work to provide childcare or hire or find someone trustworthy. Teachers. Some teachers might not want to miss a day of learning because they might be teaching an important unit.
Our first step. The information we gathered through interviews and other source analysis to create a presentation of data from our research and perspectives from the interviews. Our interviews were conducted with the Bridgeport Public School budget manager, the principal at Park City Magnet School, and a Board of Education member. Using our information and data, we will convince the Board of Ed members to provide a day off on school. Step 2 is to attend a committee meeting in Central Magnet School to present our research. After our presentation, we will see if the committee's members vote in our policy's favors. If so, we will move on to the next step.
If we do get the yes vote from the three Board of Ed members, we will go on to the Bridgeport Board of Education regular meeting. We will present the same presentation with some revisions and updated information to all Board of members. And we will try to convince the board members to declare Eid al-Fitr as a day off. If we do not succeed, then we would reconstruct our presentation and improve it. Then we would propose our idea to the Board of Ed again, or submit it to our representatives in the Connecticut General Assembly for their consideration. That's it.
Well, thank God, ladies and gentlemen.
Our
Louder.
fine group of eighth graders are ready for your questions if you have any.
Yeah, well, first I'd like to make a question and observation, maybe a couple of things. As being raised as a Christian, I could put myself in the shoes of somebody from Islam. I could imagine if I was in a system where Jewish holidays and Muslim and Islamic holidays were celebrated, and they had the day off for their high holidays, and I had to go to school either on Christmas or get a day off and possibly miss some learning. If I had algebra class and they taught something in algebra, I would have to catch up the next day because of my religious beliefs, and that's not fair. There's three major religions: Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And I believe we've got probably in the city of Bridgeport students, probably outnumbered Jewish students 10 to 1. And we all got our holidays off. And I think further, I'd like to know where you got the number of $1 million for the school day, because I think it's going to be cost neutral because we're swapping one day out for another day out. Because if we're in school for one day, it doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, unless we got one more winter day. Maybe it'll cost a little more to heat the building.
So the students who pulled that information, they're not here tonight. They spoke with the district budget manager, and that's where they received the information, what it costs for personnel, full personnel on a regular day of school.
And I like the suggested days. I have I'll have one more suggested day possibly, because I see we got a 4-day week, no, 1, 2, 3, a 5-day weekend on President's Day. And the first day off for that one is Thursday. So making it Thursday rather than Friday would still give a 3-day weekend. That's could provide that, it might be a better idea. And also to note, you brought up the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That just recently became a full day off for staff. It used to be a half day for, I don't know, it's a long time. I don't know when they made it. Probably a couple of years ago, it became a full day off of school. Yeah, that's all I got now. I'll take questions from Ms. Bobby Brown.
I know that you guys mentioned that, took my question. I know that you guys mentioned that, you guys surveyed 99 students. Was this just in one school or across the district? How many participated in your survey?
Only one school at this time.
Only one school. Okay. That's it.
Ms. Castillo? You might be on mute, Ms. Castillo, if you're trying to talk.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm actually walking up the hallway now, but for the sake of keeping the ball rolling here, I know that you said that the day changes every year. So what time of year is this typically observed? The Eid Mubarak season?
It's a lunar calendar, so it will just change every few years.
At this time, the Eid will, for the next few years, it will be observed in the winter time or fall time.
He's behind you. He's coming.
Okay. So my next question is, how would we go about determining, each year when we establish the calendar year, would this have to be sort of factored into the conversation each year? Or do you have a set day where the holiday should be observed?
So it all depends on the moon. So it's unset for now, but it could be determined on the last day of our fasting, which is the 30th day.
Okay.
I've actually got a schedule that was sent to me from the Islamic Center.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't verified it, but they got it plot. They plotted it out until 2040.
Oh, wow.
So it should be. But seeing if I'll send this to everybody. And the same thing happens with the Jewish holiday. I believe some of those are cyclical as well. I think I don't want to speak ignorantly, but I think it's Yom Kippur or I know one of the two follows the lunar cycle as well, and it's not every year. And Easter also fluctuates every year.
Right, got it. Okay, so, I agree with you, Joe, your recommendation about President's Day. I also think the day before Thanksgiving is a good recommendation, which was the, recommendation you guys made. I'm unsure about which to choose, to be honest. Yeah.
So this has been an ongoing discussion
Mm-hmm.
going back into the fall. There were other meetings held regarding this. And the district closing for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah is driven by the number of staff members who are Jewish who would take that day off, which would cause a severe staffing shortage. This goes back several decades. And the same with the Christmas holiday. We take that week off because so many people would be taking that week off anyway, and it would be pointless to have school in session when only very, very few people, staff included, would actually show up. You mentioned something about being marked absent if you take the day off. Now, I don't think this has been codified, but it's been talked about, and maybe this is what needs to be codified, because we do have the holiday on the calendar. But I think maybe we need to codify that students who take this day off with their families will not be marked absent. And no critical work will be issued week leading up to and following that holiday, so that nobody's going to be losing anything because you took the day off. The other issue I have, thought, is that there are other religions in the city. There's Hindu, Buddhist, and others. And if we make it a position to specifically shut the district down for one religion's observances, we would probably have to do the same for others when they poke their heads up. And to do that, to force 90% of the students to go home for a very small group of people who want to observe their high holiday, I see that as problematic and a really slippery slope as we move forward. However, if we note the holiday on the calendar and maybe come up with some level of policy, some policy language that specifically says, if you take this holiday off, you will not be marked absent, and classes are not to have tests that day or have major assignments due that day or in that week, so that there isn't the possibility that somebody's going to lose out because they took their holiday. And then if you did that, if other religious groups came to us, that is something that we could apply to others without it affecting district as a whole. The other thing I think of is that, there could be some collective bargaining matters that would need to be talked about with the teachers union. I don't know what they are, but I think to charge into this, try to wrap it up tonight, would be a little disingenuous. I don't know if Mr. Testani has seen your arguments. I think he would want to weigh in.
Definitely.
On any of this. This is new stuff. I've met, in fact, Ms. Brown and I met with a group and Mr. Testani. And was Mr. Lombard there too? Or just you and I?
I think it was just the three of us.
Okay. And a lot of these issues were brought up. But I think at the time we were kind of hesitant to make any kind of real movement to shut the district down. And Mr. Testani instead created this and had it passed by the board in January. But there's nothing really official, I don't think, that says if you get the day off, you will not be penalized. So I think we need to start having that kind of discussion with Mr. Testani. And this is a really good presentation. It's very well thought out. You considered what you thought any resistance might be and how you would address it. And I think that's really the thrust of this exercise. Go through this and make this kind of presentation. But I just want you guys to understand that there's a lot of thought that needs to go into this. I think it's important that we consider all of this and listen to it and really have an ongoing discussion. But I don't know that it would be appropriate to make a hard and fast decision right here. Those are my thoughts.
Now, I'd like to address a couple of things you said. First of all, equity is not easy. It is not easy to I'll get, I got Mr. Benham first.
Oh, sorry.
Equity is not easy. We have set a precedent because Three Kings Day hasn't been a holiday forever in Bridgeport Public Schools. We made an exception for Christians. This is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. We're not adding a school day. A suggestion that Bridgeport Public Schools don't close for that day and swap it for another day, instead goes on pause, will lead to an additional learning loss for all our students. Our students have already lost enough learning time. And we'll have no tests that day, no big major assignments, no lessons. So we got the whole city got to take a pause just so we don't have to swap a day out to give students the day that they deserve. I mean, when we make these allowances for teachers, for contracts, but who do we work for? Do we work for the teachers? Are we here for teachers to have jobs? No, we're here for students. We're here to educate students. We're here to give students what they need, and they're here very clearly telling us what they need. And I estimate about, maybe 2,000-3,000 students. I don't know the whole district, about 2,000-3,000. Those are students, about 10% of our student population, and I don't know what percentage we could say follow the Jewish religion, and they get the holiday, but not the Islamic students. That's not equitable. That's not fair. We got to do what's hard. And if the Hindus do come to us and give us a presentation, I don't think they'll have the big 5, not even 5% or 3% of the students will be in that place. I think we need to address this issue now. This is one of the areas of the board where our power is actually spelled out in improving the school calendar. And I believe rather than give Mr. Testani a day, might be just give him the menu of days to choose from, and he can pick which one's best for the district. And Mr. Benet.
No, have me Baptista first, please.
Okay, Ms. Baptista, please.
Good evening, everyone, especially students. I agree with Mrs. Sokolovic. When you come to decisions of equity, it is not the easiest thing to do, but I would be interested in certain facts to further strengthen your argument, because I would like to know the percentage of Bridgeport residents who are Muslim, the percentage of students in our public schools who are Muslim, and also I would like that juxtaposed to some of the other demographics. What percentage of Bridgeport public students are Jewish? I also find an equity issue with what was presented in terms of just the example Yom Kippur that was presented by John Weldon as it was practiced by the teachers. I believe that there is an issue in Bridgeport public schools reflecting the actual demographics of the population. So even if the majority of teachers don't look like the students in Bridgeport, does not mean that they cannot, they're not obligated to respect some other religions or religious holidays. And so I don't think that our lack of diversity in our teaching staff should be the end all be all for whether a holiday will be observed or not, or granting a day off. I think pushing it aside for what it seems like this has been in front of the board for several years is in itself against being equitable. And I think that there needs to be serious consideration to giving a day off. I'll just give you a quick anecdote. When I was in elementary school, I had perfect attendance. I wanted to go to school. I didn't want to miss a day. I didn't want to have a sick day. I was very motivated. And I knew if I missed a day, I could fall behind. And I was motivated when I was very young to want to go to an Ivy League school, and it was everything to me. Even in high school, I had perfect attendance. So I understand the apprehension of missing a day. And with some of our schools' performance, a day means a lot. It doesn't matter if a test is being administered that day. Every day matters towards education. And so I want to thank you guys for your presentation and hope that it does get pushed further along and that you make your arguments even stronger so it's reflective of the community at large, because your voices do matter, and I really appreciate the statistics that you provided for your school.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree exactly what you said before, Mr. Sokolev and Ms. Christina, too. But my question for you guys is, what bring you to make this? What was your reason to take that, have that special day, most of the day? What was the reason why you feel that, And before that, I'm very proud of all of you. I'm glad I give applause for that, because you guys are the future for Bridgeport School. And I'm very happy that you come, and that's what we want. Our kids come to a committee and talk. If Ken's okay, Mr. Chair, you have to bring this in the board, or the whole board, I will support you guys 100%, because you're the future, and I'm very excited to see you guys here. But I just want to know in one word or something, why do you guys why the reason you bring this? What was the reason? Come, a little history, what happened. Your presentation was amazing. I see it, and give applause for that. Thank you for the staff helping and stuff like that. That's very, very, very good.
Originally, we had a whole bunch of problems. We had a vote, and we came down. We had like about 20 problems at first, and we dropped down to 10. And those were our 10 big problems. And then eventually we dropped down to this problem because we thought it was unfair for a lot of the Muslim students. And yeah, that's originally what happened.
From 20, you went down 10.
10 and then to 1.
Oh, so you're going to be the next superintendent of the school, future. That's great. Also, Mr. Chair, you have a mom. I know his mom is part of that. She's far away. If you can come here to close, I want you to be close. You're a parent, so be close to us. I know it has to be whose mom's that. You're welcome. I don't want you to stay so far away. No comment, no more question, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Ms. Christina.
Okay, so I just, in contemplating the different options that you all presented, I had to circle back and think about, sort of the differences between equality or equitable representation and equality, right? So I want to read a definition out loud to you all. Equality means that each individual or group of people is given the same resources or opportunities. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. So it's slightly different, the difference between equity and equality. I think the suggestion to have a day off is sort of in the same vein of seeking equality, right? Because you have other religions who observe a day off. And as Mr. Weldon mentioned, there's differences in terms of what that representation looks like throughout the student body at large. So what we'd like to do is make sure that you guys have equitable representation. When what I heard you say was that there was, is that you guys are being marked absent.
This is Rita, how may I help you?
Sorry, you're not on mute. Okay. So what I heard you say is that you were concerned that you're being marked absent and that you're missing work for days that where you're observing your religious holiday. And so I think that's sort of the issue that needs to be addressed, is not necessarily like the entire district needs a school day off, but rather how can we address you all not, or maybe you all getting excused absences and additional support for the work that's missed on the day of the school day. So I don't know that it doesn't answer the question. I just wanted to provide a bit of clarity around the context of what's being sought out here. I will say that I do think it's important to confirm the data with the district about what the numbers are so that we are able to provide an equitable solution to your concern. Is there a way to be able to circle back to either Testani or someone in the district that can confirm what the representation is in the district?
Well, we could assume that there's more Muslim students than Jewish students in the district. And if I'm wrong, I'll be glad to say so at a meeting. But as far as your definition for equity and equality, they're not seeking equality. They're seeking actual equity. There are 3 or 4 Jewish holidays on the calendar, 4 or 5 Christian holidays on the calendar where they get the day off. They're asking 1/5 of equality. And for us not to go Christmas, New Year's, what's the other one? Three Kings Day, Good Friday, Easter, all those holidays, Yom Kippur. Now they're asking for 1. When a minority religion in this city gets 2 or 3. They're asking for 1. They're asking for 1/3. They're not asking for equality. They're asking for 1/3 of equality. They're not asking for all the other Muslim holidays off. They're asking for this one, their high holiday. And I think if this isn't equity, diversity, and inclusion, I think we're wasting our time with this whole committee.
So I see what you're saying. I still think that it's an important point of confirmation, because I understand your recollection of what you think the population might represent, but I do think it's important to solidify that with data to show what the actual representation is throughout the district. And again, you know, equity is not about giving everyone the same, you know, the same resources. It's about giving everyone what they need to be able to, in this case, observe their practice. Is it equitable then for let's say 90% of students that are not going to be attending class that day for the lack of, you know, or that, you know, the day before Thanksgiving, for example, that for the past, I don't know how many years, the entire school district has been observing that day, and that's, you know, being considered from.
Just quick point of information, I'm sorry,
know?
It's not the day before Thanksgiving, it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which has only been a holiday just recently. It used to be a half day. So putting that back to a half day will just back us up 2 years in time, not decades.
Sure.
Half the districts in the city do not celebrate, half the districts in Connecticut do not get that Wednesday off.
And to be frank with you, my school district of where I work also doesn't get that Wednesday off.
So it would pose no real hardship to have that half day. Like I said, equity is not easy.
Based on your personal recollection.
Okay, let's take it out of personal recollection. If we get this on a regular board agenda, could these students, Mr. Johnson, could y'all have the data on Bridgeport demographics of Islamic students in Bridgeport Public Schools by Monday?
seek it out.
And if you can, I'll pull it up myself.
Can I just, okay, what I said previously is that I don't think it's fair to try to cram something through tonight when we've only just seen this presentation. To clarify with respect to Three Kings Day, 54% of our student body is Hispanic and would observe that holiday and take that day off, whether it was on the calendar or not. So half the student body wouldn't show up, and the district would continue operating. The two Jewish holidays, those were things that the teachers union negotiated because they had at the time such a high number of teachers that would again take that day off irrespectively, creating a staffing shortage. So it's you kind of have to understand the background of some of these things. I'm just saying, we need to find out more information. We need to be thoughtful about this. Is there some level of compromise that can be reached? And I don't get the feeling tonight that compromise or thoughtfulness is being considered by everyone. And I'm just saying that I think it should be. And I think if you should reconvene this at the next meeting of this committee, get this more information. He can't even commit as to whether he would have it Monday. So I think it would be disingenuous to just try to rush it through tonight. I'm not saying it should die, but I think we should talk about this a little more. Not saying this should die.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So I'm also very proud of all of you for participating today and allowing your voices to be heard, because I know some of you were shy. I can just tell by the way you guys were up here talking back, send loves of support to you. I'm also on the stance of strengthening your argument as well. I think one thing that's why I asked the question, like how many of the schools outside of your school did you survey, just so that I can make more of a appealing approach for the entire district, because even though we are one school, we want to make sure that that represents all schools. And 90 is not the whole entire district, but I respect that you guys took that effort out to do that. And just like Ms. Christina said, is, strengthen your argument as to why you want that spread it abroad, to really make that approach, because I do believe you guys, as young people, deserve, the right to be able to feel how you feel and to allow your voice to be heard. So I'm excited to see what you guys present. And also too, how you guys move forward with this.
Yeah, if I could just piggyback on what she said, I agree. I think that you guys are presented so well, and I'm proud of you for coming here and for, making a case and representing, a larger population beyond the group that's being represented here today. As a board, we have to make decisions based on hard data. And it's important that we know in a very matter-of-fact way what the representation is throughout the districts in order to provide an equitable solution for you guys. So I think the point that Bobby made about, surveying beyond just one school is important. And again, I also think that knowing what the numbers are across the district is also important before really proceeding with finalizing on making a decision tonight.
Yeah, before I get to Ms. Baptiste Perez, I'm going to say something. We waited long enough. This is an institution. These questions here are really bothersome to me. But it goes to the ingrained institutional biases that are pandemic, which is why this committee was created to resolve. This is an issue, not a facts and figures issue. This is a religious issue. There's no doubt that Islam is the third biggest religion in the world. There's no doubt that our calendar has Christian holidays and Jewish holidays on it that are celebrated. There's Was there a survey before they gave Yom Kippur to the teachers? I think not. Was there a survey before we put Christmas holiday off? I think not, because it was expected. It was our privilege that we took that. As myself as a Caucasian, and this came up to all these residual things in the past. If we're not going to change now, when? If we're going to put it off again and again, it just doesn't make sense to wait. I mean, we could get more facts and figures by the board meeting. We could discuss it further. We could table it there. But I think this deserves to go to the full board for consideration. And I'll take Ms. Baptiste Perez.
In the interest of kind of promoting EAT and moving it forward, I do have some questions that were presented by John Weldon. You mentioned 54% of the student population are Hispanic, and that was part of the driving factor for Three Kings. When did Three Kings become a recognized day off in the Bridgeport Public Schools? And yeah, I'll start off with that first. When did it become recognized in the public schools as a day off?
I do not know.
Okay. And then was there any kind of survey or presentation because as to why Three Kings should be taken as a day off? It's typically a holiday celebrated by Catholics, not amongst all Christianities. So, and with that being said, is that it's not a generic Christian holiday celebrated by every single Christian. And so I would be interested in giving these students guidance as to how did it recently become a holiday and why, before just promoting that you kids just take the day off, and once we feel that your number is significant amongst whoever's eyes that may deem it as significant, then we'll recognize your holiday. The next thing is, just out of curiosity, because I forgot which Jewish holiday it was, but how many teachers are still practicing that, and what would be the risk of no longer, well, no, let me not say that because I already know what the risk is, but how many teachers are still practicing particular Jewish holidays in our system that would impact staffing shortages? I think that we do need additional data as to how large the Muslim population is in our schools, but in the interest of equity, lumping all Christians as celebrating Three Kings that's
well, I didn't say that. I said
well, that's
we have a significant Hispanic population.
Wait, excuse me, I'm still speaking.
I understand that.
Hold on,
but I'm saying some things I didn't say.
Is a
And then he would raise a point of information. Let us finish speaking.
Hispanic students, that does not mean that they necessarily observe the holiday. So I'm asking, as an example of guidance, did you survey? Was there a presentation? How did that decision, because it's a recent one, by the sounds of it, to have Three Kings of become a day off in schools, how did that happen? So that way we can provide guidance to help these young students out as they're going for their position. And then I just find it out of curiosity because I don't think in general, as a student, former public school student, or even in my short term as a teacher, everybody's excited to get a day off. Just in general. That is a generalization. I am okay with saying most people are okay with having a day off. But when and how to move it forward, and Rita says Three Kings was implemented in the district over 20 years ago. So over 20 years ago, Rita, there was no school, or was it recognized on the calendar? Because that's a distinguishing fact. But I want to be able to help you guys move your agenda forward. And so there's other groups that have gotten their religious day recognized, and how did they do that? I think it's key. I am a little skeptical on relying on the teacher data because, as I mentioned earlier, it does not reflect our population and our students. And the general constituents of Bridgeport should not be penalized because of lack of diversity hiring in the school system.
Would you like to make your clarification, Mr. Logan?
I already did.
Well, next time, please, wait. Yes, like I said, I think we've got all the information we need to make this decision as a board. As I said, one of our few powers is to approve a calendar, add to or subtract to it. And I think at this point, I'll entertain a motion to move to the full board, adding Eid as a day off to the school, and let Mr. Testani choose from the 4 days previously mentioned in order to make it happen, or add a day in the beginning or the end of the school year.
So we're not gonna have them check and see with the district? Is that what we're not doing?
That would just be, it depends on how, it depends if my motion is seconded. And they could still bring the data to us, 1 second. They could still bring the data to us at the regular meeting, and we could still have a discussion. We could still postpone it at the regular meeting if we don't have the data in front of us that we need to make a decision. If we feel we don't have enough information to make the decision, we just made a decision on putting masks on with 2 weeks worth of data.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, so I would like to move it to the full board with the 4 day, Mr. Testani picked the 4 day, one of the 4 days previously mentioned, and have it as a day off.
Can I be recognized?
Yeah, give me a second. Is it seconded? If it's not seconded.
I second it,
Okay, it's discussion.
as long as we can, yeah.
Okay, we did that this past Monday, trying to defer to the superintendent a decision. As a matter of policy, that is our responsibility to make. So I don't think it's appropriate to take that path for this. I do not think it's appropriate to push this discussion, which is going to get a lot more robust, to the full board before all these other questions have been answered. Typically, it's this kind of nitty-gritty information and discussion that we had at the committee level to avoid it going to the full board. That's why we have committees. I mean, if everything just gets thrown to the full board before a complete discussion with all the questions answered occurs at the committee level, then there's no point in having any committees. So I think it's, again, disingenuous to just throw this to the full board. I think it's also disingenuous to the young people to give them the impression that this is how good government works. They came here to make their case, and we have questions. And we want them to come back with some answers. We want our superintendent to come back with some answers. I don't think there's anything wrong with coming back together in a month when all the data has been assembled and Mr. Testani is sitting here to answer questions of how things came to be. I don't think we should be forcing this in this manner. As it is today, the holiday is on the calendar. It's there. If we want to change some aspect of it for the coming school year, this has already been passed by the full board. If we want to change some element of it for going forward, there's no rush for that. We're not going to do this again until January. Respectfully, I think this should continue here at the committee level, and the people who can give us the answers should be sitting here, because we're talking about this. There is nobody sitting at this table who can give us the answers to these questions. And it's inappropriate to just bypass them and say, well, they can answer them at the full board, because then that board meeting is going to be till 10 o'clock at night, because we're doing something there that should have been done at a committee level.
Yeah.
And speaking of it should have been in our committee level, that's where it should have came instead of being in Mr. Testani's office or wherever the people off the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, with the exception of one, met and discussed this and put it in as a non-day off. Because had I noticed it was just an observation, I would have pushed for the equity then and there, and we would have those numbers. But we don't, because the meeting happened behind closed doors, and that is not equity. That is not how good government works. That is how backdoor dealings work. We're looking at good governance. That should have been right here before out in the open. Should have been.
That wasn't a behind closed
I
door.
know. Yeah, I understand, but it was an equity decision. This conversation has been happening. If everybody was so interested in getting the data, you had when you sat down with the Islamic community in December.
Well, to
You could
clarify,
have.
they said after that, when it wasn't gaining any traction, they said that they would come to our next board meeting and bring it up in public comment. And they never did.
Right. Well,
so the impression was given that maybe there wasn't as much energy behind it as they would have had us believe, because they never brought it back up at the board level. And now we're having this discussion.
We did offer.
And we did offer. In fact, she sent an email saying, please come to the board meeting and state your case. And nothing happened after that. So it's not, there's no backdoor dealing. They asked.
And that's part of the problem. Nothing happened afterwards. Nobody raised it and nobody brought it up.
On their side. They did not on their
Right.
side.
And nobody on our side brought it and said, hey, we got this.
Right, you're
group of
still
people.
included.
Nobody brought
You're
it.
still
Now,
included.
I put it on their calendar. It was always coming on my calendar. I didn't know people met behind the scenes.
Well, then the superintendent put it on the student calendar.
Absolutely.
And
now
nobody.
All right, we can keep going around in circles, but now I'm going to say the students presented a lot of data. They presented enough data for me to make my decision. And there's a motion on the table to put to the full board.
And I think this committee should continue its work.
I would like to make a motion to amend the motion.
What's your amendment?
My amendment is, your amendment states that Mr. Testani has 4 options to choose from. Is that correct?
Well,
That was included
actually,
in the
infinite, even more. You could do it before, after this.
Okay, regardless, I don't think that that's an appropriate next step if it does go to board, because there has to be discussion at the board level before any action is
What's your
taken.
amendment, please?
So I would suggest that that happens at the committee level in our next meeting, and you're welcome to choose the date for when you think, the next meeting should be, however much time you feel is appropriate to give them or to give the district to produce the information that we need. We have one more meeting at the committee level to clarify the things that we're discussing. And then at that point, we decide that it goes to board.
So the amendments to have one more meeting.
To clarify the doubts that I think people still have before solidifying a decision.
That's actually a whole new motion. Because the motion is to bring it to the full board and give the superintendent voice. Your motion is to put it back in committee and get the rest of the information before.
Well,
Ms. Baptiste, Perez, you had your hand up?
I was gonna call on procedural matter, that's not an amendment to it. Also, let's see. Yeah, that's not an amendment to the motion. That's a completely separate motion in itself. So you would have to see if it's going to carry amongst the 3 of you, and then consider what Ms. Castillo's offering.
I believe that's what the chair just said.
Well, he asked why my hand was up. So, and then also I did want to bring up that as a point of order, I don't find it appropriate to make a comparison to what was done in the decision for Mass as a comparable to this for several reasons, not to go in or drive this meeting longer. Let's just focus at this particular matter at hand and handle it procedurally. There's a motion on the floor, it's been seconded, and there's discussion.
Is there any further discussion?
We've got 2 alternatives here. One is if people are in favor of what Ms. Castillo was proposing, her intention. Brown could withdraw her second and the motion could fail, or you could take a vote and vote it down. Those are your 2 options.
All in favor of presenting to the full board as discussed? Aye.
I'm gonna withdraw my motion because I do want to be able to find that the students are serving across the board. And I just want to make sure that their argument is just as strong. Because like I said, you know, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to be doing this, but the point of the matter is that we met with the adults. This is the first time I'm meeting with the students, and I want their voice to be as important as any adult that presented. That's my take on it. And they deserve that. Because adults, whatever they delivered on, they didn't, the students are. So.
Motion fails. I don't need another motion to bring it back to the committee. I'll put it back automatically. We'll try to have one in maybe 2 weeks. If you gotta make yourselves available.
Yeah. Mr. Bennett.
Mr. Benahan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know I'm not part of this committee, but as a board member, I would like to see more information from them. They do a nice presentation and everything, but I like to see more and get more information. I know, and then after that, you as a chair in the committee will agree, you know, what's going to be the next step in the protocol and the policy. But, you know, for me, here, this is new. I like it. You know, I'm very, all of you, but I would like to hear more information as a board member to see what's going to be the next step.
I'm going to want y'all to come back in maybe 2 weeks or so. I'll inform your teacher
It's just not fair.
when the next meeting will be. Okay?
Great.
And I'd like to take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Motion for 5-minute recess?
Oh, wait, is that a motion to come back in 2 weeks? Did you?
No, I could just schedule it.
Okay, fine.
And then motion for recess, 5
Yeah.
minutes. All in favor?
So moved.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. It's now 6:14 PM. All members are currently here before us, still here. Next item on the agenda is discussion on staff training proposal.
Baptiste Perez here.
Is Ms. Baptiste, except with the exception of Ms. Baptiste Perez, thank you. Yeah, signed off. Next item on the agenda is discussion on staff training proposal from Carolyn's Professional Services. I do not see Ms. Na here. No, I don't know what happened to us, so I guess we'll table that for the time being.
Okay.
And then move on to item number 4. Review and discussion of student AP courses and participation rates. Dr. McPherson, I believe you're going to take that away. Where is my? Where's my packet? Looking at it, I was looking. Do you want to bring it up on the screen?
Oh, I thought he was going to, yes.
Okay, I forgot, I flew out my. Can you bring it up on the screen?
Do you have it? If you
Yeah,
don't.
it's part of the packet. You have the, can you bring the packet up? I'm sorry. Yeah, if you could, anything you want to present, if you could make it a PowerPoint, it makes it easier. There's this, and if it's submitted as a PowerPoint. Sorry about that, I never told them. PowerPoints are easier. Sorry, Sam.
Did you email Ms. Na or you called her?
I texted her this morning. I
Texted her?
emailed her on Saturday.
Oh.
This is not gonna show on YouTube, though.
That's fine. I did just so I guess we can see it. Well, it's going to show here, just so we can see it. Yeah, just keep going. It's at the. It's after the student packet. Yeah.
Okay, go.
Next. Yes. Okay, take it away, please.
All right, good afternoon. So the data tonight looks at the students who are enrolled in AP courses. Students in grades 11 and grades 12 are the students who basically, distinct students who are basically enrolled in AP classes, advanced placement classes. The chart that we're looking at, we have 4 sets of data tonight. This page here looks at the students who were enrolled in semester 1 courses, broken down, so semester 1 AP courses broken down by gender, whether they're SPED, L, and also race, Hispanic, Black, Afro-American, Asian, etc., for grades 11 and grades 12. If we move to the next page, again, we're looking at the students enrolled in schools across the district in grades 11 and 12, semester 2, who are also enrolled in AP courses. All right. Are there any questions about that? I don't know if anybody has any questions about this data.
Yeah, I just got to backtrack to where I saw something, because when you look at the charts, these the second
Semester.
not the second, I'm sorry, the pie charts.
Okay, so can you go down, please? Yeah, go down to the pie charts. So what the pie charts is basically
looking at the students who are enrolled. So let's look at semester one.
Okay.
Grade 11 students. So out of the total students in the district who are enrolled in AP courses in grade 11, semester one, broken down by race. Okay. So this is the total number of students across the district who are enrolled, 100% of the students who are enrolled in AP courses, semester one, broken down by race. All right. So for instance, we have across the district, semester one, grade 11, there were 238 students. So this pie chart represents the 238 students who were enrolled in the 11th grade in AP courses, broken down by race.
Okay.
All right.
And is those same students carry over into 12th grade too, or no?
Not necessarily, no, because we run there are 2 semesters in the high schools, right? You got semester 1 and semester 2 courses, right? So some courses are full year courses and some are distinctly just 1 semester courses.
Okay.
All right. And then if you move to the second slide, this is again, the students in semester 1, total students in 12th grade students who were enrolled in AP classes. Okay, so looking at them as a whole, 100% broken down by race. All right. So semester 1, you had across the district, you had 137 students across the district who were enrolled in AP courses. All right. So that's how it breaks down by race. And if we move to the third slide, the same thing, but semester 2. And then the fourth slide is the senior class. All right.
Wow.
Okay.
You know.
So when you look at the top, so again, because I know that we wanted to see what it looked like in terms of race, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what that looks like. Right.
Overall, district-wide, it looks pretty good, but we do have, it looks like we do got some trouble areas up in disaggregated data. And let's see. For instance, does BMA offer any?
BMA?
Yeah.
So are you looking at semester 1, grade 11?
Semester 1, grade 11.
Semester 1, grade 11, they did not, but if you look at semester 2, they did.
And looking at the percentages of our comprehensive high schools, they trail our magnet schools significantly. The highest we got in comprehensive school is Central, and I'm pretty sure the component of the magnet schools in there as well.
So you're talking about the 84, so the 21%.
21% for Central.
300. What semester are you looking at?
I'm looking at grade 11.
Grade 11, semester 1 or semester 2?
Semester 1.
Okay, right. So you had 21%, round it up to 22% of 11th graders who were enrolled in advanced placement courses.
Right. And
11th grade.
Yeah, and then you look at Bassick, you got 8.4, Harding, you got 9.3.
Right, but if you look at semester 2 for Bassick, that percentage increased. Okay, you had 20% students that were like 3.
Arrow, okay, then you got a decrease in arrow, but not bio and IT. So how, okay, there's another piece of data I want to look at. Male to female and at bio.
Which semester?
I'm sorry, grade 11, semester 1.
I'm sorry, what are we looking at?
Yeah, actually, it seems like in every category except for, well, that's not true. And the most stark would be bio. 33 females versus 6 males taking, does a split? Yeah, and then 1 and none.
But if you go to that same school, semester 2, you have 12 males and 22 feet.
Oh, correct. I'll keep looking at 12, grade 12, semester 1.
I have a question too,
Sure.
while we're looking at that. Maybe we answered this, we probably did, and it probably just went over my head. I'm looking at the pie chart, there's like literally, the 11th grade and the 12th.
The one?
Well, it doesn't matter which.
Okay, which one? Yeah.
I was wondering exactly what are the courses? I don't remember I believe you mentioned them before, I believe, or maybe not. So if you could just say what are the AP courses that they are taking? Because I'm just curious to know what has their interests.
Okay, I don't have that segregated, but they range from AP English, AP World History, AP Bio, your courses, but at advanced.
Okay, the reason why I asked is because one thing that we were looking at in our last couple of meetings is what interests our students to even be enrolled in any AP courses. And I just want to know like how can the district better support them in these courses? And if there is no more support, then there isn't, but I'm just curious to know how they're doing and, pretty much like what is the main course that everyone's signing up to do?
Right.
And going back to what you mentioned about semester 1 and 2 on bio, it's 33 females, 6 males in bio in semester 1 and semester 2. It's not as big of a gap, but it's still 22 to 12, and it's almost double.
I can't speak to that piece, because we don't have that whole enrollment. But I think one of the things so just correct me here, but I think one of the things we want to know, right, in terms of the data, is that our students are accessing these advanced courses, right? Do we have more students accessing AP courses
in an equitable manner?
Not, right? Yeah. I understand your question, but I can't.
And then, if you look at the charts at the end, it looks like everything's equitable. But when you get down into the granular data, some of it is.
When you disaggregate to schools, there are going to be
some disparities.
There will be differences.
Right there are differences. 3.7% Hispanic, grade 12.
But I think, I'm sorry to cut you, but if you look, for instance,
let's go for
so semester 1, if you look at Bassick and Hardin, is it Bassick? No, I think it was BMA. Semester 1, I'm sorry. If you look at BMA semester 1.
Which year?
Semester 1, grade 11, I'm sorry. Right? They offered no AP courses semester 1, but I'm talking about BMA. But by semester 2, they did offer their students the AP courses. Because obviously they're offering half-year courses, right? Which is fine. They're AP courses.
And only five
if
students.
You look at, I'm sorry?
And only 5 students enrolled in grade, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm doing it again. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the grade 12 again. Okay, so let me, 25, okay, I apologize. I was looking at grade 12. Yeah. Keep looking back and forth. So there's 25 in grade 11, second semester. Are we offering enough courses for our students to take advantage of? And especially in schools like Basic.
So if you're in the high schools, you'll offer the courses. Students are invited to enroll in courses. Some students are recommended. Some students will request AP courses. You get down to the point where even with support, there are some students who will opt out, right? They will vote after all because they are extremely challenging courses, all right? But everything is done, whether it's counselors, administrators, whomever, teachers, to support the students. It then it's up to the student whether or not they're going to rise to that challenge. Right. But one of the things I can say is that you definitely have more students who are accessing these courses. So there are not gatekeepers saying, oh, no, you can't take an AP course. It's more like teacher recommendation, student interest, and so on and so on.
And how do we gauge student interest?
By their opting into the process.
How are the classes marketed to the children?
How are they marketed? Presentations. So obviously you start taking AP courses in your junior year. So in your sophomore year, you are informed about these courses.
Does notifications go to the parents? Because
Parents are notified.
quite interested in saving money in
Report
college,
card
taking AP
conferences.
courses.
Counselors in most spaces do an extremely good job at informing students about their options, because from the get-go, you're creating this college mindset. So.
Yeah, I remember like being at Hardin, I think it was my junior year, I was recommended, like I did AP chemistry.
Right.
Like, because I, weird
Well.
like that, but I thought it was really good that the teacher even offered it. They saw like my, history in it, and it was, offered. Thought that was really good.
It seems like we just need a little, do we have the same amount of offerings in our comprehensive high schools as we do in Fairchild, Wheeler, and Central Magnet?
Well, it depends, right? Because at Fairchild, for instance, that's an IT school. For instance, you got the 3 distinct schools at Fairchild, so they're focused. So BMA has a military focus, right? Aerospace, aero engineering focus, IT, you know what I mean? So the courses that they offer are gonna be more specialized, even though they are gonna offer your English, your math, those core courses which you need, right? And then at the comprehensive high schools, you're going to have more of an array of courses that are offered.
So they're more at one of those schools, or they're more track specific.
Yeah, right, based on the focus, the school's focus.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful to have like a list of all the courses in each school. Make sure they're being adequately dispersed throughout the system.
So, okay, can I ask this?
Sure.
So, but with, say for instance, Aero, BMA, Biotech, and IT. So some of the courses that are going to be offered I would need to see them myself.
Right.
But some of the courses that are going to be offered specific to those schools, are you saying you'd like to see those also across the other public schools?
And I'm wondering if it's if IT got one, is it specific to IT, or is people from bio could go in and take the IT one and vice versa? As far as the AP courses, yeah, that's.
Oh, you mean, do they cross schools? I don't know what they do at Fairchild.
I know the regular courses, no, but as far as the AP, I'm not sure. If we could get a breakdown by school, just what courses are offered, I just want to make sure we've got equitable distribution, equitable access.
So you request that?
Yes, of course. And all data. When you talk to data, it's like talking. Any questions?
Looks good.
Okay,
Yeah, I think-
this data is just the way I like it presented, and just
this
and
right?
that and that or bar chart, and one more thing, if we can, whenever we present, just to have the demographics of the city, just for easy reference, just side by side, just so you can see if any blue is smaller and yellow is bigger or whatever.
I think Erica.
Oh, nothing. I just was gonna say that I felt the pie charts were pretty representative of the student body at large. It's like a smaller sampling of the right district, so that's good. And then I agree with Mr. Sokolovich about seeing the AP courses by school and make sure that those offerings are equitable. But other than that, I feel that these numbers look pretty good overall.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Take a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Right.
Thank you.